Hello there friends. I don't really have a great deal to say here today, so let's just go straight ahead and take a look at March's models. First up for March, we have an easy build Aggressor. Really pleased with how he came out actually, just think they look quite good in silver. Since a few people have asked me about the recipe for my metallics on these Marines, the silver is just lead belcher as a base, recesses washed with Nuln Oil and then highlighted with the old Mithril silver. The bronze is Warplock bronze, recesses washed with Nuln Oil and highlighted with the old Shining Gold. One day I'll have to replace those old paints, but since I only really ever use them for edge highlighting, it could be a while. It was also kind of fun to go into painting this one right after doing the RTB01 B key, since the Aggressor is comically bigger. Also, Games Workshop, if you're watching, and let's be honest, you are, could you please make it so Primaris, more specifically in my case, Aggressors, make it so that they can be transported in something other than a repulsor, because I really don't want to, end up having to buy a repulsor. I'm going to end up buying a repulsor, aren't I? Whilst we're on the subject of big lads, up next I painted a Necromunda Goliath, and big thanks to Shanus who very generously sent us the Necromunda box set that this guy came from. Since Snipe wanted the Eschers, I was left trying to figure out how I wanted to paint the Goliaths, and in the end I just thought I'd go for a pretty simple and clean red scheme, nothing too flashy. Might play with the colours a little bit as I paint more of them, but I'll be happy if they all come out like this. I'll also try and mix up the skin tones a bit on the others, since, 40k already has enough large shouting white dudes as it is. Next up I painted some Orcs, not the ones I said I'd do, but I'm getting closer. I bought a badly damaged squad of plastic Rogue Trader Orcs for next to nothing on eBay a little while ago, and wondered how many of them I could salvage. This is the only one that will have all original parts, since the rest of them are missing some weapon somewhere, and even then he had to have a fair amount of modification to save the parts that were there. Like, I had to cut the chainsword away from a very damaged hand that it was originally a part of to substitute in a new arm. However, these were surprisingly detailed. I mean, they're nowhere up to the standard of a modern sculpt, but compared to the plastic Road Trader Marines, they're pretty decent. The other boy was painted up the same as a modern Goth to go with my Orc army, but this one required a little bit more work. His weapons come from a 2nd edition monopose Orc, since he didn't have any and I thought it was best to keep it as close to the original era as I could. He also has a Mohawk, which is cool. Oh, and a small little point was that rather than using gravel on the bases of these like I have for all my previous Orcs, I had a shot at using texture paint and then just painting over it. Seems to look pretty much identical, but you get a lot more control over how thick you want it in different areas, so I'm probably going to continue doing that. Last up is a late Rogue Trader era Space Marine Captain, although he'll be run as a lieutenant on the tabletop. You might have seen this guy pop up in our recent Space Marine model video, along with some of the other things I've shown in this series. Honestly, I just really like this model and I'm pretty happy with the paint job. I just have a lot of nostalgia for this era, I swapped him over to a 32mm base so he'd fit in with my other lieutenant, which involved far more work of chopping and pinning than I anticipated, but I suppose that's just building minis for you. Also, yes, I said lieutenant both ways there because apparently I just enjoy annoying people. And there we have it, March's models. As for my score for 2019, I'm up to 14 models painted against 8 models bought, although I have bought a few bits for various projects so it should probably count higher, but I don't really know how to quantify that. I hope I get more painted next month, since so much of this month's time was taken up with the Space Marine model video over on the main channel I mentioned. But hey, now that's done, there's a handful of Rogue Trader models that I had to leave unpainted for that are now fair game. So Brother Angst shall rise again.